Hello guys, it's been a while since we did some phpradclassic project, so this is what we want to do for this one. So we're going to be building a simple app. It's an SQLite, so we're using SQLite database, and you're going to be creating a parcel delivery project. So it's a simple project you're doing. So let's go ahead and browser. So you haven't yet set the what do you call them, the user role permissions, but generally this is what we want. So we have something like this. So apparently we have for now. So when you click on this, we have this. So we are going to be doing it very fast, as short as possible. So very first thing I want to do is I want to change the way this one looks. So it looks very ugly according to me. So I want to go ahead and change how it looks, and instead of it looking this way, I want to change these labels to be just on top of these fields. So let's go ahead and do that. So we go to our page, the one that we want to add, go to our add page here, and inside our form layout you want to change that to vertical. So you preview this, we are going to be having a different view of what you are working on. So as you can see now, the labels are on top of this. Okay, so you can also remove the labels if you don't want them, and you are left with only left with the fields and the placeholders. So you can also have that if you want it, but let's keep the labels just in. So that is it. Now the next thing you need to do is, if you look at this field, or the form is on the left side, but we want it to be at the center. So we go back to our page, go to add page, click on page design. We want to make this a container fluid. So the container fluid basically tells this, I want you to be flexible, I want you to stretch all the way. So as you can see now, it's stretching a little bit. So let's go back to our page design, and we go to our low class. Now the low class, we're going to be using this bootstrap content justify content center. So when you click on the preview, we are going to be having this card floating at the center there. Now the next thing you might need to do is to make this field and the sent from and the sent to be appearing side by side. So let's go back to our forms. So we're going to go to send to, and you're going to look for the field width. So let's say we want this to be called 6. Okay, then we also want this to be also called 6. Right, so if we preview this, we are going to be having these two appearing side by side. So as you see, call 6, call 6. Now call 6, also 6 plus 6 is 12, and generally this whole thing takes a column of 12. So if you want to have 3, then you're going to say call 4 here. So you're going to say call 4, and then you're also going to say call 4. So this is going to be a little bit smaller. So you preview this. So if you want to have 3 fields, so this field and this field and this field all in the same place, then you're going to say all of them to be call 4. So you're going to say date in, also have it as call 4. So once we preview this, we are going to be having these to be also on top there. You also have call MD3 based on what you want, so that's generally what you need. So we're going to be having this. So because I've shown you how to do this, so I'm going to pause the video so that it's not so long, and I'm going to set up my my cards to be my fields to appear how I want. Alright, great. So now I have created how I want my form to look like. So this is how I want it to look like. Now there are a few things that we are going to be adding. So we're going to make this a select drop down, and also the mode of payment to be a select drop down. The tracking number is going to be an auto generated number every time you open the form page. So let's go ahead and do that. So you're going to go to our delivery status. So we want our delivery status, which is here. We want this delivery status to be a drop down, which is equals to delivered pending all or what, generally whatever. So it's going to come here to our delivery status and go to make it a select. Now in our select drop, our data source, we're going to come here to our value here. We are going to say delivered and pending, okay, in transit. So it can be in transit, it can also be collected. Oh great, it can be this, or it can be, okay, yeah, those 3. So let's have those 3. So if we preview this project again, then at the bottom here we are going to be having these to be drop down. Okay, so the select value here, as you can see, it happens everywhere when you select the drop down. So you can go ahead, go to the select value here, and we have the display label and the placeholder. So the placeholder is what you're going to say. So you're going to say set status, so that you can have it unique for every drop down that you're going to be having. So at the bottom you have the set status here, and you have the in transit. Now the mode of payment, you're going to also do the same thing. So you're going to go to a mode of payment drop down. So it's going to be some Kenyan modes of payment. So it can be M-Pesa, it can also now be in cash or card. Okay, so we have those three. Good. So don't also forget to set these don't also forget to come here, and in the mode of set payment you change this to be set mode, can be caps MOP. So that's it. Good. So we have this drop down for the mode of payment, and we also have for the cash. Alright, now the next thing you need to do is make the tracking number to be an auto-generated number. So we want to go to a tracking number. So one thing you're going to do, we don't want it to be changed. So you're going to make it a read-only or a disabled. So set this to true. So the read-only just basically means that you cannot edit that field. So it's generally built like that. So the default value, this is where we are going to select random characters. So it can be random characters or random numbers. So we are going to set random numbers, and here you set the numbers you want to appear, the number of numbers you want to have. So I want 6 numbers. So if I preview this project here, if I preview this, we are going to be having these to be 36, and as you can see I cannot add anything because it's set to disabled or read only basically. So this is a tracking number. So every time you regenerate this page, it's going to be a unique tracking number. So if I go back and see this, so I have that. Now the next thing we need to do is to assign a driver. So as you can see here, we have a driver and we have a vehicle. Now we have a table which is called drivers. So we have John Bote here, and we have the vehicle model, we have the vehicle number, and that's it. So that's what we want. We want the vehicle number and the name of the driver. So we are just going to go to the this page here, which you have the delivery, and you're going to click on this excuse me, and you want to set that as a drop down. So we're going to go to the driver here and go to the select. So if you come here, you go to the data source excuse me, and we are going to select the table which has the driver. So we're going to go select this to be the driver. The field value is going to be the ID, because the ID, we are doing the ID because we want to bind the deliveries to a unique driver. Now the label is going to be the driver name. Alright, we don't need to complicate things. So once we preview this, and we are going to be having these to be having our drivers table. Now the next thing we need to do is to get the number of the driver. So we need to get the driver. Alright, so the next thing we need to do is now go to the driver here. So once we go to the driver, because we have already done the driver, so we want the next number, the driver vehicle, to be dependent on the name of the driver. So you're going to go make this select, and you're going to select these just the way they are, so just like we have done. But let me just remove this so that we can start afresh. So I'm going to select the lookup field to be the table, which should be the driver table, and the lookup field value should be the name of the vehicle number. Also select this to be the vehicle number, and we want to look the dependent field. So the dependent field is going to be which field is coming before this. So which field it is depending on, because what I mean is, if I select the driver, I want to get the driver vehicle. So the driver vehicle is dependent on the driver field, so we are going to select that. So as you can see here, it says lookup dependent field. So it's a field that required before we get the following one. Now the lookup dependent match. Now I want you to pay keen attention here. If we go to our driver table here, you notice we did we select distinct ID. Okay, we select distinct ID. So we are selecting the ID of the driver. So in the dependent field here, the lookup dependent match, we are going to be dependent on the ID. If you selected the driver name, then it's going to be dependent on the driver name. So I'm going to select the driver ID. Now let's preview this project again, and let's see what we get. So if we go to the driver, select driver, and we select this, it automatically becomes a name. So I'm going to add another driver, and we can see what we get. So I'm going to pause and add. Alright, so we have created another driver. So we're going to go to our delivery here, and when you click on add, so we want to compare the two. So if I click on this driver John Bote, I get this number. So if I click on Jackman, I get the number of Jackman. So as you can see, there are two different vehicle numbers. This is 450 and this is 55. So that's generally it. So basically that's it. Now if you go to our drivers page here, you'll notice that by default when you set an image, it becomes long like this. So kindly note, there are two ways. You have the way you can have a full link and the way you can have the image saved in a folder. Now you need to note two things. If you're adding your values, your images on a local host, okay, and you have set this to be like a link like this, when you upload it online, it's not going to be having the images unless you upload them again. But when you have them saved in a folder, even when you put them online, the images are going to be there. So how do you do this? Now if I go to my drivers page here and I click on add, where we have the image here, you notice that we have this a property called return full path. So when you set return full path, that's when you get your images appearing like a long a link like this. So what you do is you set this to be false. So when you set it to be false and you add another driver, so I'm going to add another driver here, and let me see if I get that. So it's just going to be some random driver here. So for starting it very, and I'm going to save this screenshot and submit this. So you notice that now it's being saved in a folder. Now when you put it online, it's going to work just fine. But when you have like this and you put it from localhost, as you can see, it's saving as localhost, it's going to give you problems. So it's not unless you apply them again. So we want to change it from link to image. So we're going to go back to our drivers on our list page. Under our image, we're going to change the display type from print to image. So I'm going to preview this and let's see what we get. So we're going to be having our images at the end there. So generally we can have them here and you can navigate through your images. So always remember to save your, click on save, and you have that. Good. So I don't think we have so many things we have to look at now. Now the next thing you need to do, I need to add some deliveries here, and once we are back, I'm going to pause, and when we are back, we are going to see what we get. Alright, so I've done two deliveries, so that's what we want. So before we go ahead, we want to maybe set this to be a human date time and changes. Also in the deliver here, we want this date. Okay, so we want this date to be set by default instead of us selecting that this the parcel was sent today. So we're going to set this to be default. So let's go back to our page here and go to our pages under our deliver, and now add, we want to be date in to be not even date time, we want it to be date, but we want to set a default date. So default selected date should be date now. So once we preview this project again, you'll notice that now we're going to be having our date to be already selected. So this is what we want. So we want it to be already selected. Now the only one we need to set is when this parcel has already been delivered. So that's it. Now under our delivery page, you notice that we have these dates here. We don't want them to be like this. Also remember, we don't want them to be date times anymore. So I'm just going to first of all remove this because we don't need the time. Once we start saving it, it's not going to be saving the time. So alright, so remove that and let's save it. Okay, it's having problems. So let's work with this. So I want to make it to be a human date time. So let's go to our page on our list delivery. We want this to be the date in to be format, go and format record field to be human date, and also date out should also be a human date. You can always set the date time or the human time and all relative, it has to be entirely up to you. So this is going to be like this. They're going to be appearing this. Also you want these icons to not be icons, but for space purposes we want them to be drop down. So we go to our page, driver page, list page, and you scroll down our list page properties. Inline edit, we can set it to be false or true based on how you want. Inline edit is this, the ability to be able to edit this. So when you click on this, you can edit that name, you can edit, that's the inline edit. So we want page component action button display to be drop down. So let's preview this. So we expect these view, edit, delete icons to be gone. So as you can see now, they are appearing in a drop down. You can have them here in front. So let's go ahead and do that. So under here, you're going to set action button in front to be true. So also one thing I don't need to display the ID in the home page. It's just going to get rid of this ID. Good. So now we have them on the front page here, and at the end we have in transit or delivery status. Good. So let's go ahead and now go to our drivers page. Okay. Once you go to our drivers page, what you want to do is whenever we click on this driver here, when we click on this driver, we want to see the data that this driver has, the transaction this driver has had, so or the deliveries he's making. So I'm going to go to this page. Okay, let's go to this page, and in our drivers page, view page, we don't want to have this display view, so we can set this include page to false. So I'm going to create a new section, and I'm going to bring it over here, and I'm going to make this container fluid, and I can have this to be call md12, call 12, call sm12. So we want it to be appearing like that. Now let's go ahead to our deliver page and create a new page that is called display. So the display page is generally the page that we are going to be having inside our drivers view page, so that we can see, so that even it still has. So let's go to this display page. So this is going to, you are going to have to format it again. So you're going to make this date in to be human date, and out also to be human date. We are also going to go and inline edit, and also we have the icons drop down for us. We don't need inline edit here, so we're going to preview this page. All right. So our driver, you know that now the view page of this driver is gone, so we don't need edit anymore. So here we have the display and the deliver. So this is a page that we are going to take and put it in the view page of our drivers. So first things first, we don't need some things in page. So we don't need the add button here. We don't need this, and yeah, we can keep that, and the search button here. You can always make this to be Ajax page, Ajax drop down. You can have it to be Ajax drop down. Now once we preview this, okay, now the Ajax drop down in the search basically means that I want my type a search here, it displays on its own. So if I search something like Kenya here, okay, let's see, okay, it's not really going to work because we need to have the drop down there. We have to set the template, so we need to set the search template here, so not to worry about that. Let's go ahead and bind. We want, whenever you go to the a driver like this John Bote, we want to filter data based on the deliveries he made. So let's go ahead and do that. So we're going to go to our drivers page. On our view page of the driver, we want to now come here and drag and drop the page we just created for the deliveries, this page called displays. Now inside our display page here, you notice we have filter by. Now the filter by, we need the driver. Remember, when we are adding a driver, we selected the driver ID instead of the driver name. So under our deliveries page here, I'll have driver ID instead of the driver name. So that's what we are going to be using to filter here in our drivers page. So the filter by is going to be the filter by the driver. The filter value is going to be based on the ID of the driver. Now the data ID is getting the ID of the driver from here. So if I come to this, I come to driver here, and I want to go to this driver John Bote, so there is one. Now deliveries page here, also the driver is 1, so this is going to be the ID of the driver that we are working with. All right, so let's come back here, and the data ID is going to be getting the ID from the drivers here. So it's going to be getting the ID of it. So order by, you can always do how you want it. Now show header, you can now do that if you want. And let's go in this page. So let's see what we get. Now if we come back to this page, let's go to this driver called John Bote. Okay, so John Bote is going to be this. So as you can see, this is a transaction that was handled by John Bote. So if we go to another driver, the driver called man. So if I click on this driver called man, we also expect to see the transaction that this driver has handled. So here we can see all the details that this driver has made and his transactions, or the deliveries he has made. So generally that's what we want. So you can now go ahead and style this page. So in our deliver display, we don't want the ID, so that's it. You can preview this. Now the next thing we need to do is we need to have some colors, or basically whatever, for the status of the delivery. So let's go ahead and do that. So we're going to go to our deliver page. Inside our list page, we want to style this delivery status. So we're going to come here, plain text, call that, make it custom. So you're going to come here and do this. Alright, so we're going to come here and say we're going to give this a class is equals to badge success. Okay, so let me confirm that's how it looks. So what we want to do here is do this. So we're going to come here and say php if, so we want to check if this is equals to, so I want to check if data and delivery status. So I want to check if delivery status is equal to in transit. So I want to check if it's equals to in transit, and we are going to display this. Okay, so I'm going to come here and say php. Alright, so we save that and see what we get when we preview this. Alright, so now as you can see, we have this if is equals to in transit, but if not equals to in transit, then we display something else. So let's go ahead and add some more statements. So for this one, we want this to be warning. If it's in transit, we want it to be warning. So we're going to come here and say if is equals to delivered, then you want to display this to be success. Then you're also going to come here and say if is equals to, okay, so I want to check if this is going to be equal to what statuses do we have for this derivative? I don't see. Let's try to go ahead derivative. Okay, we collected. So we also have if it's equals to collected. So for this one, instead of success, let's have info all dark. Then for this one, you're going to have success when the whole process is complete. So let's preview this. Good, so now we have this delivered. So if I go ahead and change that, okay, sorry, not that way. If I go ahead and change transaction from delivered to something like collected, let's see what we get. Update. So there we go. So we have it appearing on red. So now we can do the same thing for the deliver page, for the display page, so that we can see when a driver has completed those transactions. So we're just going to come to our list page here, and let's copy everything that we have here, copy it, and then you're going to go to our display page here and the delivery status at the bottom. So we want to come here and check the delivery status here, and you want to also change this to custom and paste everything else that is here. Good. Now that's it. So we want to now do something else. We want, whenever a transaction has been marked as collected, we don't want to edit that transaction again. Okay, so if we go to our delivery page here, if we go to our deliver page here, okay, let's first of all confirm that inside our drivers we are able to see the status of the transaction. Good, so we have that. Now we want, whenever a transaction has been marked as delivered, if we try and edit this transaction, we don't want to see this page again. So let's go ahead and come to where we have our edit page. So let's go to our deliver, display and edit page. So let's mark this page as here. So we want to do this inside our edit page. We want to do something here. So we want to come here and say, let's go to our edit page here. Let's see what we get. Say custom edit. Okay, I'm going to pause this and check this route. Alright, so let's go ahead and work on this. So we want, whenever a transaction is marked as collected, okay, we want it to be like this. We want it to appear like this. We don't want it to be editable. So once the transaction is collected, we don't want it to be editable. So that is out of whoever is using app. So we want to go ahead and go to the edit page of the page we want to work on and click on custom edit here. Okay, you need to come here and click on custom edit, or you can go to the page design here and come here and put a custom view. So I'm going to come here and put a custom view, put another custom view here, and you also want another custom view. So we have 3 custom views. So the 2 custom views that are here are to wrap this. So first of all, let's go ahead and do this. So we want to go ahead and check this out. So we're going to come here and say PHP, and we're going to say if and data. So the data is the variable that is holding the field of the status. So you're going to say delivery status. So if delivery status is equals to collected, all right, then we want to do something here. So if it's equal to collected, we do that. So this is the code that is going to be inside the first view. So copy that, and okay, so we can complete that. So we come here and save. Then you're going to display text saying collected. So we want to say parcel collected, and you're going to come here and say PHP, alright, something like this, PHP, and close that. Also, if it's not collected, now this way we're going to come here and wrap that code. So the one you just copied here, so we have not really closed it, so you're going to close it at the bottom here, so which is just basically going to be wrapping up the one that we just created. So let's preview our code and see. Alright, so it says it's collected. It's displaying the code just like we wanted, but one thing that's happening is this is appearing because we have not set the condition here. So we're going to come here and say if data status is not equal to collected, we want then these to be displayed only when it's not equal to collected. So there we go, we have this saying data collected, parcel collected. So if we go and try and look something else that is not collected, like let's say 2, and let's see, now we can be able to display this. So if I come here and set this to be collected and update it, then we cannot be able to display it again because it's marked as collected. So there we go. So generally I wanted to make this video to be on a 30 minutes time mark, and generally we are able to complete that. Hopefully this has given you some insight on how you can be doing this kind of stuff. So that will be it for this video, guys. See you in the next one.